All right, what's up, everybody? This is Sam with Rowdy Alternative, and today we have from the Austin Meade Band special guests Aaron Hernandez, drummer, and Jordan Pena, better known as Lil Rikki. How you guys doing?
Doing pretty good, man. Pretty hot down here.
Right on, right on. I saw you guys played Green Hall. I guess that's how you pronounce it. I'm not a Texan, so I'm not real sure, but I saw it was sold out too, right?
Yeah, man. It sold out the day before, and we most of us are from the area, the Green, New Braunfels area. So it was kind of a venue that we have been wanting to sell out for a while. I mean, we all grew up going to shows there, so good experience.
Right on, right on. So what I want to do, or what I did want to do before this, is do research on my guests, and I couldn't find anything on you guys. So I guess we're gonna start out just asking some questions about, like, I don't know, what got you into music, what made you pick up the bass, the drumsticks. Aaron, you could go first since we're doing the mute thing.
Yeah, actually, I come from a family of musicians. I mean, on both sides of my family, but predominantly on my mom's side, there's, a buttload of drummers, and most of my cousins were in marching band, even if they didn't play, in bands outside of school. So it was kind of, I was just grandfathered in, but it was just something you did. You went on the weekends, somebody was playing somewhere, and we just tagged along. And as kids, we hated it because it's like we were forced to do it. And then it not, I was one of the only ones of my generation to actually pick it up and want to make a career out of it because I knew it was possible, and I knew I would have the family support as well.
All right, right on. What about you, Ricky?
My mom was a piano teacher, so that was great. So when I was like 6 or 7, she was like, "Hey, guess what you're doing for the rest of your life?" And then a long time, but then like around high school, middle school, when I started playing trumpet a lot more and being in the band, I was like, "Oh, this is great." And I thought I wanted to teach. So near the end of my high school career, I also started to pick up the bass because I like that, and I figured out, I was like, "Wait, you can do this for a living, like play bass and like and do shows and not have to teach kids at music, dude, I want to do that." So I just started doing that, got around, and that's how I met all these dudes. Was working
Yeah,
here at the guitar store, like I told you, actually.
yeah. I wanted to touch on meeting everyone. So, Aaron, you were around, if I'm correct, for Black Sheep, right? It wasn't you weren't around for
Yeah,
Waves or anything.
yeah, I was around for Black Sheep. Basically, I met Austin. I bartended for about 4 or 5 years at Sam's Town Point in South Austin, Texas, and Austin and his band at the time, they filled in for another buddy of ours, Kale Richardson, and I we were talking. We became cool. Nobody knew I even played drums. They filled in again a couple of weeks later. We just kind of hit it off, cool bartender to a Tuesday night fill in, nothing too crazy. And then I'd say a couple months after that, that same fella, Kale, he hit us up. He hit me up like, "Yo, Austin Meade's looking for a drummer. I threw your name in the hat." I was like, "Me, the guy that played the other day at the bar?" He was like, "Yeah, dude, their schedule's starting to fill up, and he's kind of going more rock now than he was." So I filled in for like 2 weeks, and after that, he called me a couple weeks after that and was like, "Yo, do you want the gig? Like, tell me right now. Like, right now. Tell me right now if you want the gig." So I was like, "Oh yeah, yes, I'll take it." Well, that's pretty much it.
Was that so? That was a pretty easy decision for you. Just like drop
Oh
everything, go with it.
yeah. And I knew where it was headed. I knew where it came from. And don't get me wrong, I was a big fan of Waves, but like now that we've moved on from there to more heavier stuff, not even heavy metal, we're definitely not a metal band, but I like the heavy stuff. I grew up playing, Tejano music and cumbias, but also funk music and like metal. So I have it all in there.
Yeah, and we're definitely going to talk about that in a little bit. But what about you, Ricky? How'd you meet Austin? You're the newest member of the band. So how'd you meet up with them?
Like I was like 20 or something like that. I'm 23 now, and I was still working at this guitar store, but at a different location, right next door to where he used to teach lessons. So he'd come in a lot, well, in between lessons, and just we'd bullshit and look at guitars and all that. And one day he needed a bass player, and he came to hire my manager, and he has his own band, the Reed Brothers. So he was busy, and he's like, "But Jordan plays bass," and I was the stupid kid just in the corner, like, and I learned the stuff. I met the dudes, and I was like, "Yeah, this is where it's at." They're all great guys and easy to get along with, all that stuff. So
What was your first recording then? Was it Loser Mentality with the band?
yeah, on
Okay.
on that, on half of that record, it's about to come out September, I think, right?
Breaking news. But so about that transition into more of the rock stuff, which is honestly like one of the most fascinating things to me going on right now in Texas and in that scene. Because I think, at least from my point of view, when you guys first put out like Dopamine Drop, I think for me was when I was like, wait a minute, this is different. And you continued to put that kind of stuff out. And to me, that was like the first. You guys were probably like the first to really make that step. And now you see guys like Cody West, like they're starting to go more towards that rock alternative kind of path. Um, so how was that transition into that rock scene, and like how easy was it to transition, and what even made you want to go into that direction? I know, Aaron, you said you joined right when they were going for that, so maybe you would know a little bit of the backstory with like that whole transition into the rock area.
Yeah, I mean, it, we had we had all kind of talked about it, and like I said, Austin was already him and our guitar player David Willie. They were already leaning towards that. And then you mentioned, Cody West and a couple of guys. Well, we all record at the same studio, so I don't think there can be one band or one person that's directly responsible for it. But you know, I know that Taylor Kimball had a huge influence on the actual sound, not so much the direction of the songwriting, if that makes sense, but like the actual sound, like what you hear
Mhm.
when you play the stuff on Spotify or whatever. Like it definitely kind of all happened around the same time. I can't really take credit for that, the sound. I mean, none, but at the same time, not there's none of us that really can take credit for what's happening in the Texas music, red dirt, whatever scene. It's just something we were all kind of doing, and maybe other bands had felt very similar because we all grew up listening to rock music. Anybody that was born in the early 90s on, we all grew up as rock fans, whether it was hair metal all the way to, the bands of the early 2000s. So I think it had a lot to do with Taylor Kimball and us being, of course, friends with Co and everybody. But we all kind of built off each other, and it's good to say that nobody really like jocked anything from each other because we're all pretty creative in our own way. And Taylor's just a evil wizard on that console. He's just a genius. So shout out TK.
Yeah, that's a guy I'd really need to talk to. Is all like he put out like everything, not literally everything, but he's had a hand in you guys, Cody West, Reed Southall. Like it just seems like a talented and interesting dude. So I really love to talk to him in the future. But is there any difference, Ricky? I'll ask you this one. Is there any difference that you see in the actual community when it comes to like you get the guys who like the Americana guys that Austin started out with, which I don't know if you see much of since you were newer, but like you still play the shows and you have these different crowds. Can you tell the difference? Like I'm at an Americana, I'm at a Texas country show, or I'm at a rock show, like based on the audience or the overall vibe of it. Can you tell the difference there?
Oh yeah, like especially in the beginning, because when I first joined the band, we were still playing a lot of the old stuff mixed with the new stuff. So like it was obvious when we were around the Texas country crowd, opening for like Wade Bowen and stuff back then, that we'd play the old stuff and they'd dig it, and then we got to like dopamine or whatever, played stuff like that, and they'd go, now what the hell is that? You know, like that kind of reaction. And you can still see it sometimes when we're in Texas, but it's getting, obviously we have a bigger, better fan base in Texas now than we did a couple of years ago. So you can tell they're more rockers.
Oh yeah, for sure. Um, so I guess the fans are they pretty accepting when it comes to like these new releases? Um, like I'm sure by now, I mean you put up a whole album, so like by now they're probably used to it. But Aaron, when they first put out Black Sheep, was there any kind of like, I don't want to say backlash, but was there any like raised eyebrows? Like this isn't what I was listening to before. From your point of view, did you see it as pretty accepting to what you were playing?
Yeah, well, for the most part, I did see it accepted. I mean, of course, there's stories of certain venues that's going to play and literally getting yelled at from the crowd. Well, we can't dance to this. So
Oh
it's
wow.
yeah, but also those people are the ones that never heard of us and like were just there because we were playing like a country venue. So, and that's been several times, and not just in Texas. It's been several places around at least the South. Um, but besides those few little funny stories we have, um, for the most part, dude, it's been pretty accepted. They're rock fans. They're rock fans, and especially the kids in Texas and in the South. We all grew up listening to rock music. I mean, almost everyone grew up at least listening to, one of these bands, Zeppelin or Skinner or AC/DC or even like Van Halen or Metallica. Like the basic core rock stuff for kids around our kid. I say kids, I'm old man now, but for when we were growing up, like those are the basics, the meat and potatoes. And so we all kind of have that in common. And in the younger fans that are, the under 25 crowd, there's a lot of them have older siblings or older cousins or parental figures that just put them on. They put them on the good stuff back in the day. So, and we're all from that same background. So, yeah, let's go back to the original question. Yeah, it's been pretty well accepted. The music's been pretty well ate up by the crowd, and everybody knows the words. It's a lot of fun.
Okay. I mean, like if you think about it, at least what I think, Austin's music has never, besides like Chief of the Sinners, I guess. But how old's that? Like 2016 or something. But like even Waves, like that wasn't really country music, you know? Like it was like it had like more like a soulful, even blues kind of element to it, I think.
Oh,
So y'all's never really set camp in like one genre. Y'all hopped around. Even your new stuff is to me different than Black Sheep. Like it's more like I don't even know if should I say pop punkish?
I've
Is
had
that
a friend refer
accurate
to
a little
us
bit?
as, I've had a friend of mine and Ricky refer to our genre as digital roll. So I'm not sure how I feel about that, but it could catch on.
What's that even mean?
Ah, I have no idea, man. I have no idea what it means, but for some reason, I kind of like it. It kind of sticks. But no, I wouldn't classify us as any one sound, any one genre, because just when you think we're kind of a harder Texas red dirt rock band, we'll put out a ballad, or then just when you think we've got a good mix, we'll go into something super hard with some alternative time signature structuring stuff. So, just when people think they've got us pinned as one band, look out.
Exactly. Okay, Ricky, I'll ask you this one. Um, I need to know like the process that you guys go through in making these music videos because I think they're the best in the game at the moment because every one of them are
They're pretty fun.
hilarious. Uh, yeah, like who do you guys all kind of go in on that, Ricky? If you have any input on that, or is that like one decision, like
Austin will have a
creativity?
main idea, and then we'll all fill it in with our little jokes that we just tell around the band all the time, or references that we want to make to pop culture or whatever, So that's usually how it goes.
Cool. What about the writing process? Is it like I know Austin, of course, and Willie are I believe are the main songwriters. Do you guys ever pitch in on any of that or no?
Like with this last record, they brought us a lot of stuff, and then we do our own bass and drum parts. Add to it, make it
What about like
funky. On some of them, and all that kind of stuff.
okay, what about like lyrically? No.
What was that?
Hear that, Willie?
What was that?
I was just I asked if was there any like input from you guys, Aaron, with like the songwriting part, but I believe it's just Austin and Willie, right?
Yeah, they do most of the ideas and the writing, and then like Ricky said, they bring it to us, and they literally just bring us an acoustic duo song and normally it's got like an awesome signature lick or some kind of riff that's like super easy to build on because Willie's an excellent guitar player, and then Austin, that crazy brain of his, he's got all kind of weird stuff to stay in there. So, I mean, it's good that they can do their thing and bring us a good foundation, and it's easy for me and Ricky to just do our thing. There's no like they have in Austin. I don't know if anyone knows this, but Austin's actually a pretty good drummer. Like he started out on drums as a drummer, so he can actually play, and it's not just like having a singer that knows one beat telling you how to play drums. It's like if he has something to say about what he thinks the drums should sound like, I listen to it because I can do it, and then I'll just add my little salsa on top. So it's easy. It's easy to do that.
Okay, how'd you two mesh when you joined Ricky? Like, because obviously you're the rhythm section, and I think that's the backbone of the whole thing. So, how easy was it for you two to mesh? How quick was it just to like click together and make music happen?
Honestly, I hated him. Couldn't stand him. No, I'm just kidding. It was pretty instant, actually. We both have a lot in common. We grew up very similar, and you know, we're a bunch of goobers, so we got along real quick.
What about
We're
you, Aaron?
idiots.
Could you stand this guy?
Man, well, I could at first. It was hard to read him because, like, I knew he knew the Reed brothers, and Austin Meade spoke highly of them. But I was like, okay, we'll give this kid. And I come from the generation where it's not just given to you. I mean, all my uncles and all my relatives, and even players that I've looked up to and that I've gotten to play with in the early days, since 2010, they weren't easy on me. I was, as Ricky was, I was a 19-year-old kid on the road, actually on the road, not just playing around New Braunfels or Austin. I mean, we were doing it as Ricky's situation was. We were already doing it when he came in. So at first, it was a little bit of tough love, but then instantly I realized that like Ricky was the coolest one in the band. So I was like, okay, well that sucks. So yeah, I had like no choice but to be his friend after that.
So I gotta ask you guys, explain to me from like the ground up what the Smoking Chimney Brothers is. Like, I need to know, like, what made you guys form whatever it is that is. Rikki. Go ahead.
Me? Oh, she. Nah, let Aaron tell the beginning of this one.
Okay, Aaron, you go ahead.
The beginning, I'll start it. We were, if you couldn't tell by the name of our rhythm section, we are very active in the cannabis community. We are eventually gonna, start getting stuff together. We're trying to knock down the stereotype of just this dumb stoner rhythm section that doesn't do anything and that doesn't work hard or write music. We just live to smoke the next little joint, and it's like, no, man, that's not how we are. I mean, we do indulge quite frequently and in massive amounts, but we also get our work done, and we do everything ourselves. We have no crew. We're the Smoking Chimney Brothers came from us having that mentality. Like, we always were doing our work, but we also were ready to get things fired up. And it just got to where we would do that and then go have a little union break, as we call it. And then we'd go do some more work and then have another little break and then do some more work and then have a long break and then we do another break. So Willie, our guitar player, he finally stands up and starts making comments. Rikki, you can take over from here.
Yeah, go ahead, Rikki.
It was one of those times where we got to the venue, literally hopped right out as the vehicle's still rolling and fired up, kind of thing. And Willie just comes out and he's like, "Oh, they've got the Smoking Chimney Brothers over here." And then Aaron and I were just like, "Dig, that's it. Oh, I like that." So that's where the actual name came from. It's our non-pot smoking guitar player, Willie.
Yeah, the sober one of the band.
Yeah. So what made you guys do the whole Instagram page? I looked on it a lot and like because they're hilarious pictures. And I'm going and like I saw in the bio, are you guys like you don't have like sponsors, do you? Like you had like things tagged. I wish I could probably pull it up, but like it looked like you like tagged some companies or something. Like what's going on with that? Do you even know
Well,
what I'm
you have
talking
to
about?
if you want to be seen that way, you kind of got to put your best foot forward. So one of these companies that we use their products, one day might see that and might see that we're actually, because we drink a lot of tequila. We like our naps. We love to indulge in a lot of food of all kinds, and of course the obvious greenery.
Yes, of course. And from firsthand experience, you guys go through a lot of greenery. Um,
That's us.
yep. So you're is that not smoking like in particular? I just mean in general. Is there like some like tough? There has to be tough times sitting in that van, and you're like you're only like halfway through a tour or whatnot. Like, how does the dynamic like? How do you guys keep yourselves like from not killing each other after a long trip on the road? You're all stinking, no showers, nothing. Rikki, if you want to take this one, you're cracking up. So
More greenery. More green. The most any. You think we do a lot already? When we're that dead in the middle of a tour, it's even more. It's just whatever you gotta do to survive to the show, and then maybe you get to go to sleep after the show, but also maybe you gotta drive to the next state for 12 hours overnight. So
more
Aaron
good
knows a lot
times.
about. Aaron knows a
Yeah.
lot
What
about
about
having
you,
to deal
Aaron?
with that.
Oh, about as far as the driving goes.
Yeah, like how you guys like not kill each other sitting in the same van all that time.
Uh, well, we're the bunk brigade, so we do a lot of bunking. But it's also, you got to learn to just let people have their space. and we get along for the most part. But as any group of stinking dudes would be, once you're in your thousandth mile of the tour, you just there's smells and sounds and sights and all kind of stuff that goes on, and you can be one of those that points out the obvious. After we've been sweating all day and working, and all of us go in, then someone will point something obvious out, like, "Oh, you guys stink." What's like, duh, you know, we've been working here. So, but you learn to all the little comments that, and this is not just our band. I mean, that's just being on the road, whether you're in a construction crew, or it's all the same. It's being on the road, and you can let the little comments get to you, but at the end of the day, it's just a little comment, and you can have those little comments tear down what you've built up for the last however many years, or you can just literally just not speak of it. So, and we do both. We do both. Somebody will catch someone on a bad day, but that's just life, man. There is no perfect camp. There is no perfect band. Um, Everyone at least will want their own separate time, even if they don't get the arguments. So we're just really good at finding that separation, and everyone does have their own thing. Some people like golf, some people like coffee, some people like to smoke weed, other people like to take a nap. So we do good about finding our separate time, especially now that the ball's rolling a little more. Yeah, yeah, uh-huh. But especially now that the ball's rolling a little more, and we're getting a little more success, a little more ticket sales, it's a lot easier to find that separation, which you have to have. And no one should spend every second of every time together. You do need that break. You do need to go get your own little sandwich sometimes, or go to the smoke shop by yourself, or just go on a 15-minute walk downtown somewhere. That you find the little things that comes with experience.
Okay. So like when you guys I try to figure it out like cuz you guys tour obviously a lot in Texas. So on those like when you go to those shows, I assume you get like a few days off time, right? So do you like jet back home, or like do you just like stay with the van, or like what do you guys do basically in your free time while you're still like playing shows and stuff besides the greenery? Like any other like hobbies, work it looks like for Rikki. But Rikki, you could take that one. Like what do you like to do like hobbies? Like Austin likes to golf, I think. I see him golfing a lot.
I love to sleep on the road. Really, like I honestly, I do spend a lot of time catching up because A, I exert a lot of energy on stage, and B, I'm always tired. I've just been like that forever. So, and we're not at the point yet where we can like comfortably have like a little guitar in there, or I do that more often because I like doing that. But a lot of it's napping because it's draining out there on the road.
Yeah. What about you, Aaron?
Um, I do a lot of the night driving. Like if we drive at night, me or Willie, or we'll do the night driving. Austin is a early riser, so it's easier for him. But outside of the road, um, I like to cook. Um, like I like to cook, whether it's in the kitchen or on the flat top or smoking something. That's kind of my hobby, is cooking. And I mean, my family, we have a few businesses in Gonzales, Texas, or we have had in the past. So I've kind of just done a bunch of everything, So I've done carpentry, I know how to do a little welding, and I stay busy. I mean, not now today I didn't do anything today, but usually I stay moving around. I like to play disc golf. What's the word? I'm the best sorry disc golfer you'll ever see. So I like doing
Same
that.
here.
Yeah, I mean I love to play. I like to walk. I'm also a member of the Austin Meade's Pokemon squad. So we like to do a lot of Pokemon Go. And that's pretty much it. Like cooking and disc golf. Probably my two main, hobbies. If I could say I had hobby.
Right on. I meant to ask you guys this earlier. Is there like um another band or artist that you see frequently while you're out playing, or that you basically, if you just know them well, like, do you guys ever like share like creative like ideas, I guess, or any kind of like advice or tips? And like, who would that be? Like, is there one that you would look to, like, okay, this guy's doing it this way and seems to be working out, so maybe we could like kind of
Go
like
ahead, Rick.
get along with him? Yeah, go ahead, Ricky.
Not not much like that. Because when we're around our friends on the road, we're hanging out. Like we're haven't seen each other probably in a little while, so we're all excited to start talking. And we talk about the music we like when we talk about music. Just straight up like all the stuff that we listen to, but not much for like actual advice or writing with for the band. You know what I mean?
Is it like
Is
a
it like
it I wouldn't think it's like hostile, is it? Like, not hostile, but it's not like a dog eat dog kind of thing. Like, hey, we're like, it's not in any way like we're keeping our stuff to ourselves because we don't want
there's not
like
that much
maybe
competition?
like if you competition. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, not as much as you would. There's not as much competition as you would think. Now there is, there are bands that whether that people don't get along or whatever. I mean, I haven't had to run into that yet, but there's it's not always a competition. But like Ricky said, when we're constantly on the grind and the people who are whoever in your band is the one that is writing the songs, the riffs, and the lyrics, especially if it's in-house writing. um there's a lot of want longing for like other conversations when you see your buddies in bands. And I mean, we every once in a while we'll talk about this little thing, or hey, we got this coming up next, or hey, how about this little riff? But dude, it's mainly just a hang. Especially if you're hanging out with the Chimney Brothers, we're gonna have a good time. So, and that's all like that's what we're about, and I think that's in the scene. People know us as that. Like we're just the guys that we're gonna have a good time, and you're gonna have a memorable night with us, even if we don't remember it. So that's more of how it goes. It's a good time. It's a brotherhood, and if once you can break through the little outer shell of the Chimney Brothers, you're in for life, whether you like it or not. We won't let you not be our friend no more. So that's that's pretty much it.
Right on. Ricky, I'll ask you this one, then I'll ask Aaron after. Are there any? We talked about Green Hall earlier. Are there any venues that, I guess, bucket list venues that you feel you need to hit, like that you're always like, damn, I wish I could play that.
I mean, it's all the obvious ones, like Carnegie and all that stuff, and the Academy of Music in New York would be cool because a lot of my favorite bands have played there. Just a lot of places that the bands I love did live records from, I'd say, would be a cool bucket list to actually go through and look at.
Right on. What
Yeah,
about
I,
you, Aaron?
I
Any
think
bucket list?
for me, probably I'd like to do like you said, there's some obvious ones like Red Rocks, obviously. And that's mainly I'm late to the Red Rocks game, but I see all of my friends now getting to play it. I didn't grow up like wanting to play there, or I mean, it's only been a handful of years since I've even honestly heard about it, and I know I'm uncultured for that, but whatever. Um, but it'd have to be. I grew up going to concerts and shows and events at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio, where the San Antonio Spurs used to play back in the Avery Johnson and David Robinson and Tim Duncan days. Um, I think that's probably one of my bucket list.
Right on. We got you. But so
I just
what?
grew up going to shows there, so yeah.
Okay, cool, cool. Um, so you guys recently added Bo to the band. Um, what? How did he hook up with you guys? I talked to him about it, but I have a terrible memory. And if you guys want to tell me how that went, how'd that go, and how'd he mesh, like how Rikki meshed, like how'd that wind up? Rikki, you could go ahead if you want to take that.
Honestly, go ahead, Rick. Go ahead, Rick.
You got it, Aaron. Passing the torch.
All right, you go ahead,
All
Aaron.
right, sorry. It's probably Bo actually came in. He was friends of Austin for a long time. Um, he knew. I mean, I didn't meet Bo until recently. I guess maybe a year ago. He was playing with Sam Riggs, and I guess Sam Riggs kind of went to do a different thing other than music. And we already were like, man, Bo's a badass hang. Like we joked, we all had a bunch in common. So I think that it was an easy decision when Austin was like, "Man, I'm thinking about bringing Bo in." It was just an instant yes from all of us, and unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but since then, Bo has taken a leave of absence from music to start his time as a fatherhood in fatherhood, and he's gonna be a great dad. He's gonna smash it, and it's all love. It's we love Bo, and he may be back with us one day. He may find something else, but it's all nothing but love. From the Chimney Brothers way, it's all love.
Um, right on. So in from what I've seen from the first time I saw you guys, it was probably end of 2019, and this was at the Tumbleweed, and I believe you're opening for Reed. So in that, because that wasn't that long ago, and you guys now, like some of these shows you guys are playing, like the venues, the crowds you're drawing, it's a huge difference. Like it felt like y'all just blew up. What can you pinpoint exactly when that, like, you were like, oh my god, okay, something's happening, or was it like not a big difference for you guys? Like, what'd you think about that? Rikki, if you want to take that one, go ahead.
I don't know. It kind of feels like still in the middle of it right now. Like the shows are still getting to where we kind of want them. You know what I mean? Like Green Hall was a huge step selling that out. You know what I mean? So we're still in the middle of noticing like, hey, this is kind of good. We're kind of doing something.
Yeah, that's got to feel good. What about you, Aaron? What do you think?
No, that's a good way to put it. I mean, we've noticed little things, obviously, like ticket sales and the number of pictures we got to take at the merch booth are getting a little bigger. But we kind of think it's a good thing that we don't really see the improvement in the way that our fans and people that have followed us for the last 3 years have seen. And people try to tell us like, dude, y'all are blowing up, and it's like we don't really use that term. At least the Chimney Brothers don't, because we're still living in it. We are no one to toot our own horn, to put ourselves on a higher pedestal than we are, because I've always felt it'd be better to just be humbling and just take what comes with it, versus you put yourself up here, but yeah, you're still broke, that type of stuff. And so we never want to be, and somebody we're not, and we never want to put out that that image, that we're big or we're blowing up. It's just like that's just kind of not how the Chimney Brothers vocabulary works. We're just riding it and we're taking it day by day. Um, with the music and with experiences and all the friendships along the way. We're just living in it. I can't really say. I mean, obviously, Happier Alone was a turning point for sure, but it didn't just skyrocket up from there. It's been a long journey, so you know.
Right. Um. So going back to these rock shows you're playing, you guys last summer uh toured with Seven Dust, and that seemed huge, at least from a fan standpoint. Like I thought that was pretty nuts. Um, are there who is your? We'll start with like, is there anyone that you would wish to tour with like that in that way again? That's a broad brush. That's kind of a big question to ask, but it's like realistically, I put it that way. Realistically, is there anyone who you could see like, hey, we could probably or maybe pull off touring with these guys, but I don't know, like booking, I'm sure they'll probably help with that. I don't really know much about that end, but from you personally, is there a band you'd like to tour with realistically?
Yeah, I think. I mean, we all would love to do the. We would love to do the older, the older bands. All the bands that are selling tickets to three generations worth of fans, whether that be the old hard rock, heavy metal bands to even some of the, jam groups. I think that's one thing that everyone in the band, I can speak for everyone in the band because we all have our different musical tastes, and where me and Ricky are pretty similar. We get lucky. We do have a lot of the same music taste, from the 70s funk to the 50s country to the 70s truck stop countries, to 90s rap to gangster music to, cumbia stuff. Like, for the most part, we get on the same page, but not everybody in the band and crew meshes musically with their preferred taste to listen to and, bands to see. I mean, not every band that Austin or Willie would love to go see. The Chimney Brothers might not care for as much, or then there'd be an old band that we're gung ho about that they'd be like, whatever. And that's just life. That's not a bad thing. That's different tastes of music, and that different taste of music is how you got, the Black Sheep album and all this stuff that's coming up from everybody's different backgrounds. So I can't. I'd probably just have to say, if I had to name one band right now that I'd like to go on tour with, it would probably be Dream Theater.
Ooh, I didn't see that one coming. Um, so is there? I hear horror stories sometimes about people's experiences with festivals, playing festivals. Um, and
Oh yeah,
is there truth to that?
It's always fucking hot. I'll tell you that much. Like festival season is right. We're in like July-ish and getting later into the summer, so the sun's always beating down. It's always great. You have to worry about staying hydrated. It's awesome. But yeah, that'd be my biggest thing is the heat, man. It really gets to you, especially after it's been raining on you for 12 hours, just beating you down.
Right. What about you, Aaron? What's your experience like?
yeah. I mean, that's it. You also get, it's a learning experience for me though, because that's really because I also like to learn things about like sound. I mean, I'm no sound guy, but I we're giving an opportunity to basically get a free education in production, to learn how everything works. When kids usually have to go to school for that kind of thing, we already kind of have basic sound knowledge and basic gear knowledge. Well, festivals are where you learn. That is where a band like us, um, I could see how somebody mic'd up a drum kit and be like, oh, dude, why have I never thought about that? Or I can see how somebody runs their bass amp, you know, differently than one of us would have run it. And then it's just mind blowing. Or, wow, they hang those speakers a lot different than so and so. It's just like there's so much new technology every year. It's like, I didn't know they had that. And what the hell is that? Like always just in amazement.
Yeah, I could definitely see that being pretty cool to see from a musician standpoint. Um, so boys, I'm gonna close out with just a question. Like, what can you tell us anything about like the upcoming album, like anything at all? Because it's like these singles have been bangers. So is there any like? Can you like? What's that?
Now I was telling Ricky to start this and I'll finish it up.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead, Ricky. Can you tell us anything about him?
You're gonna make me start, dude. Well, first of all, there'll be a couple more music videos that come out before the album, so stay tuned for those. And yeah, I'm really excited. I know I am to get it out and have people start listening to it because it's quite a record. I'll tell you that the stuff that's gonna be released isn't even half of it. You know what I mean? Like it's gonna be something.
Mm-hmm. About you, Aaron? Any words on it?
It's definitely not Texas country. I can tell you that. So it's definitely something. I mean, you like Ricky said, the stuff that's going to start coming out, which we already have Varsity Type out, but that isn't. That scratches the tiny little surface, and then there's like 8 different surfaces to scratch. So don't even try to think about it.
All right, boys. Go ahead, Ricky. Go ahead and shoot some plugs out. Anything social media. Obviously, follow Austin Meade on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, everything like that. Listen to him, Spotify, buy his shit because that's what helps the most is buying their merch, going to shows. Ricky, any plugs for you want to throw out?
You can follow me on Instagram at lil.ricky_huh. And also shout out to RCS Guitars and Gear, my job, for giving me the internet to do the podcast. And thank you.
But yeah, no problem, dude. What about you, Aaron?
Oh, well, you can follow me on Instagram. I'd like to give a shout out to also RCS Guitars. What up? You can follow the Smoking Chimney Brothers at Smoking Chimney Bros Official on Instagram. One day we might have a Twitter, but I don't know. Yeah, there it is. There it is. We were thinking about getting a Twitter, but I've never had a tweeter before. Tweeter, whatever. So I'm old school. Like, I mean, I don't have Facebook, but also give a shout out to Sam's Town Point because I would not have met Austin if it wasn't for Sam's Town Point. So if you're ever in South Austin, go check them out.
All right. I appreciate you boys signing. This is the first episode. Thank you guys. You were the first guys I could think of doing it with because you're hilarious. So I appreciate you guys hopping on.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you having us, Sam.
So,
good luck with
yeah.
your thing, man. Good luck with all your whole new podcast.
I appreciate it.
Page. Yeah, dude. Hope it does well.
Shit, me too. So you boys stick around once we sign off here while this thing uploads for a little bit. And yeah, so thanks everyone for listening. This is Rowdy Alternative. I'm Sam, and we'll see you next time.